What's going on, everyone? It's been a while since I've uploaded anything, let alone a new mock, so to say the least, I'm excited to bring you... this is my new micro-scale spaceship that I'm calling Mountain Climber after that Exoforce decal right there. This is probably my favorite mock that I've ever made, ever. So really a lot of things were clicking together. Techniques and building strategies that I've been working on for a long time. We are firing on all cylinders with this build. My favorite part is probably the back engine array that we see here. Just the enormity and all the symmetry about it totally fell into place throughout the building process. One of the things that I was really trying to improve in this build was my ability to block colors well, or play with colors well, and make a very satisfying design completely aside from the Lego. I think that's where I managed to improve a lot. You see we have this nice kind of front block, that white block that makes up the nose of the ship. This is also where I would say my second favorite part of the ship is, in the form of using this old classic space base, moon base panel, corner panel thing at this 45-degree angle for the front. Turns out looking just really aggressive. And then obviously I was going for a very like panelly, angular look, and that's seen in the way that these wings are attached there and go into this wedge slope and into this radiator here. The piece that I think logically connects the front to the back is really this big line that comes all the way around. So this is what connects really the top to the front and then to the bottom. It also ends up hugging this very, this is one of the more bold design decisions I think on the entire ship, was this hangar bay. I was concerned it was going to look maybe like an owl or just something very weird, and maybe it does look weird, but it's certainly attention grabbing. I think especially possibly my favorite design characteristic is the fact that it's totally see-through. Go from one side of the ship to the other through the hangar. The main big wing is covered in just all types of details. I'm a fan of how there's like an extra light gray block to help support this engine. It just really brought the wing together kind of at the last moment. Also, the way that this line here conceptually connects to this line up here on the top is just very satisfying. I pretty much detailed like every corner of the ship, including the entire bottom. So the white blocking again picks up again, and there's this nice little additional support wing that just tied together how awkward, and there was just a void there before I found a little tank. These lavender tubes are interesting. I don't know if I like them there, but they definitely look cool. They're a nice little, almost like a little flex. I've got the ship up on the stand right now, but I'm gonna take it off for you. I guess it would make sense to put the landing gear. Yeah, the ship has landing gear, which is in the form of these. So it makes sense to take the landing gear, put the landing gear down. Looks like I already put it. I already had it down on the other side. But yeah, we're just gonna kind of pull it up and gracious touchdown. Cool. This little dip right there actually houses a very small loading ramp. It's very hard to grab with your fingers, but you know, might be used for land vehicles and stuff. Anyway, that actually pretty much ends up wrapping up the whole build showcase. Not much else to talk about. At this point, I can show you how the build process went from start to finish.
Before I go over any whips, I should start where the project really began, which is the inspiration. And I think the inspiration is captured almost exclusively in these two builds here. The first is Prometheus on the left side by Doss Newton. Really what inspired me was honestly the entire like Doss Newton aesthetic, which I guess I would characterize by like all these like large pieces in general, but large wedges, many slopes to create this super angular kind of chunky design. And then I'm also a fan of this scale. And then the other kind of in the more color and blocking department was Heavenly Strike by Nick Trotta. This is obviously this is a Starfighter scale, but I'm just a big fan of the strong contrast between the black and the white, and then the way that like I think the design mimics that. So you see all these like sharp corners between where the black and the white meet. Tried to mimic that. And this is actually where the build basically began. This is the very first whip picture when I decided I want to make a ship. And the overall strategy for this that you'll see kind of as we go on is to sort of just take like a piece that looks like it would fit in well and then start to build around it, really without any plan for how they're going to go together. So I had no idea that this would turn into the engine array that it did, that it would sort of meet with this, and this would end up becoming the wing attached here. This I had no idea, and you'll obviously see where that comes into play. And I would guess I would just describe it as like drawing in 3D, drawing with Lego, because I can't really draw that well with pen and paper, but you need to be able to iterate somehow. You can't build it all right the first time. So I'm just sort of like this was I found this piece definitely fit the design aesthetic, but I had no plan for how it might work. Realized it looked particularly cool at this angle and started to figure out how that would even work, I guess. And came up with this little design here, and yeah, it would definitely look good as a front. So arranged it where it would be at the front compared to this, so I can sort of start to visualize what the middle is going to be. Obviously, this ended up getting extended when I realized, you know what, a hangar would be pretty cool to emphasize the scale. Came up with this little hangar here. This was a design that I just randomly sort of thought of and didn't know where it would go, but it'll end up finding its place. Here the design gets expanded out, and this line, which ends up becoming very important, gets introduced, this curve of slopes here, because around this point I think I was concerned that there was not going to be a good connection between the back, the front, and probably the bottom. There would be a discontinuity between them. They would look like two separate pieces, because they were two separate pieces. So how do you conceptually connect them? And that's what this line is going to end up serving. The landing gear, I had these from earlier, but they sort of get introduced more. Literally, this piece got more finalized. And I guess this is sort of where I started to... this kind of chunk found its place, so I decided it would go there. And the hangars, I realized I wanted to introduce the round hangar idea, which I guess happened a little bit earlier, but also use the square or the I don't know, hexagon. And kind of aesthetically, for some reason I can't explain, wanted two of one thing and one of the other. And yeah, I guess this is where this blocking idea got introduced. Trying to figure out the front blocking some more, so I experimented with this bionicle thing and cleaned this up a little bit, because really what we're trying to accomplish here with color blocking is to create like larger pieces, abstract like larger pieces out of many different pieces that look like they're all part of a big superstructure, I guess. Here more really just sketching, so figuring out that now how the new front design kind of meshes with the back. And this is also where the idea for the bridge came into existence. This I think is when pieces started to get finalized, so I realized I needed some sort of final design for the bridge. And these wings, I love these wings pieces. They fit so well with so many designs in this build. This like dark gray spine is kind of an indication that this is final. This is meant to sort of be final stuff. And at that point, the build kind of got split into two. As it worked on the front separately from the back. The gun designs kind of get really the front is getting finalized at this point, like trying to really figure out what it's gonna look like, and the back more just experimenting. So I decided this like angle here between the body and the wing needs to be more volume, more bulk there, and this provided the opportunity to also introduce some more sand blue. This line sort of starts to get finalized, but there's a lot of piece swapping that has to occur. Started to really attack the wing to see what it was going to look like in its final form, and this is pretty close, although it got modded quite a bit near the end. Some guns that I had come up with. And the bottom was completely ignored up until this point, really. So I started to definitely attack that, and attack like permanent positions for the landing gear, because the point at which the landing gear can actually help support the ship, I think, was like a big moment that I was shooting for. This is really where the front and the back, this is, I guess, where the front and the back really merge. And this was like the first time that I really saw the ship as it would sort of come to be, messing with more wings on the front. They didn't end up staying. And starting to get the bottom really squared away. I knew that it would need some kind of white block, but who knows how it would be. This is the inception of the large vacuum engines. Basically, I realized I had these large cone things, and there was a big volume of air under the wing that could just be totally utilized. And that was when these got added, but they were really not part of the plan, and they're maybe my favorite part of the ship, the way that they just snugly fit in there. Yeah, here we can see the landing gear is permanent and supporting the whole ship. Around here, I realized there's a hole right here under the wing that needs to get figured out. So I actually just ended up introducing another wing to sort of aerodynamically like direct, I don't know, air up and air down. It just sort of makes sense. You know, it's a spaceship. Also, at this point, I was messing with removing the bridge just in Photoshop, see what it would look like. Ended up leaving it just because I like the design, but I think it looks better without it, honestly. Final pieces for the hangar array, and realized that it looks weird without some sort of asymmetry here, so that's what that little platform is for. Yeah, this is more just replacing pieces, getting everything final. Trying to get everything final. The inception of these little tubes that honestly I just had them and they had to be used somehow. They're such cool pieces. This was a moment that I was pretty happy with, to introduce this extra blocking for the light gray. I think that totally ended up sealing the deal on the wing. That was a big moment when the engine array came into existence. Duplicated a lot of stuff, duplicated the other wing. Decided I want more white blocking around here and finishing up the bottom. Stand. Wanted a stand. So building it up, but pretty self-explanatory. And this is basically it being done. There's some missing stuff, but yeah, it's really just finishing touches by this point. Made these sand blue and added in a lot of stickers all around the place. These are all Japanese characters, and then this like Japanese flag sticker. The back top ended up just coming out totally crazy. And by this point, it was done. Wow, how about that? That was about a year of building progress, just here and there, all condensed into a few minutes.
And since you made it this far, I'll give you a preview of one of my new builds. But that's all you get. No details. Should have that done hopefully in the next couple of months for Brickworld Chicago. If you want to see more whips, I'll probably be putting some in the Fall Hangout, Rebel Lug Fall Hangout Discord server. But yeah, so sorry for not, I don't know if I'm sorry, but I haven't been making as many videos lately. I didn't do any build logs for any of my new builds just because they kind of take a lot of time. And it is what it is. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video, whenever that is. Later.